All right. Hopefully, we are live and everyone can hear us okay. We are getting started in just about 2 or 3 minutes. Rachel's going to be hopping on with us. We are here today for a really fun webinar. I know everyone is going back to school right now. So, we are going to be focusing on how you start your semester strong. So, I'd love to hear where everyone is joining us from as we get our ducks in a row over here as Rachel joins and as we get started. Let me know where you are joining from and maybe what semester of nursing school are you starting? So you can type that in the chat. You can pop it into the comments on any of our socials if you are joining from over there. Let us know where you're joining from, what semester of nursing school you are getting ready to start or have started if your school has already come back. All right. Let's make sure this is working over here. Not seeing that. Third semester, you are from Alabama. All right, welcome. Pearl from New Jersey, welcome. All right. Glad to have you joining. And we've got Rachel joining us today. Welcome in to the webinar, guys. All right, from Houston, going into your second semester. I love it. I love it. All right. So we are going to kick things off right on the dot here because we only have 30 minutes to chat with you guys, and there is so much to talk about, so much to talk about. So Rachel and I, reflecting back on when we started nursing school, the beginning of the semester was always a very challenging time. At least it was for me. So we want to jump in with you guys, hear what you're going through, and just give you some of our tips and tricks from the other side here. So with that being said, I'll take just a couple seconds to introduce myself and then for Rachel to say hi too. For those of you that I haven't met before, my name is Morgan. I am a peds nurse at heart, now a peds NP, and the chief nurse here at Archer. I started Archer back in 2019 from my closet because the nursing school experience was not what I felt like it could be. So I'm thrilled to be here with you, hopefully making it better and better along the way. And we have the lovely Rachel here with us as well. Rachel, do you want to say hi?
Yes. Hey, everyone. My name's Rachel. I have been in education for just about 5 years now. I'm our director of nursing services here at Archer. But it has been an absolute pleasure. And reflecting on nursing school, I totally agree, Morgan. It wasn't the experience that I thought it was going to be. And there are some tips and tricks I wish I would have learned sooner. So I'm excited to share those with you all today.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to bounce it over for a question for Rachel first. You guys, as you think of any questions at all, pop them in the chats, the comments, etc. Let us know. But I'm wanting to start off, Rachel, with some study strategies. Talk to me about study habits, time management, whatever it is that helped you become successful, something that you would recommend to others.
Yeah, time management is the biggest part when you first start nursing school. It feels so overwhelming because you're like, oh my goodness, I have all these tests, I have all these assignments. And so you want to go in day one, you've got all your syllabi that you've probably gone over in class or that they gave you. And it's okay, how am I going to organize this into a doable schedule for me? And the biggest piece of that is that you're consistent. If you lack that consistency, what happens is then you're 2 days before a test and you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't even started prepping yet. I haven't even started doing the work I needed to for this. And that is what is going to lead to that overwhelm, that anxious feeling. And we can actually work to prevent that if we get started early. So get a calendar, put in everything, kind of plan out your semester, but actually block that study time of when you're focusing on what classes is probably my number one tip when it comes to time management. Study habits. This is going to sound silly, but I want you to actually talk out loud. Don't study in your head, verbalize it out loud in your own words. The more you do that, the more you're going to learn critical thinking and clinical judgment. And when you maybe say something that doesn't make sense, it allows you to catch that. Oh, hey, that didn't make sense. I don't fully understand this concept yet.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I love it. So let's talk next a little bit about clinicals. I know we have a couple people going into their second semester, and then I saw some people who were going into their last semester. So, more than likely, all of you have clinicals in some way, shape, or form in your nursing program. I know sometimes we're in the sim lab, we've got our checkoff days, then we've got our big clinical days. For me, preparing mentally for those, they were exhausting days. Like, I think back, I'm like, I think that was more exhausting than like my first 12-hour shift as a new grad. Clinicals just like hit differently. Um, so I'll give some of my tips, but Rachel, how did you prep for them? Like for anybody going into their first clinicals or their 100th clinical, any advice?
Yeah, I thought it was overwhelming because I thought I had to be an experienced nurse at the start of my clinical experience, which makes no sense. We have to learn that. We have to give ourselves those learning opportunities. But I think being okay with not knowing everything and not having the answer to everything was okay. But also asking your instructor of, hey, what's your expectation of things you want me to be ready for this first day? Our instructors, they gave us a list of 100 medications. They're like, we expect you to have an idea of what these 100 meds are for. You don't need to know anything else, just what are they for was kind of what they started us with. And if we didn't have that, that was our pass to clinical. They were going to ask us a random med on that. We had to answer it correctly, or we didn't get to do our clinical experience day. So stressful at the time. But ask
That
them
is
for that
stressful.
feedback beforehand. Like, what are you expecting me to walk in knowing so that you can review that material before you go? There's lists out there of like common medications I might see on a med surge unit or common medications I might see in a critical care, whatever your rotation is. And that allows you to kind of prep for things beforehand. So you know that common terminology, you might know
Mhm.
common meds, and that can make you feel more confident. My other big tip, make sure you have a good stethoscope. I know that sounds
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
I could be a Littman sales rep. I'm not one, but I love my Littman stethoscope. If I try to use another stethoscope, I'm like, oh, I can't hear anything. So find a stethoscope that works really well for you. Because I will say, being able to hear when you're listening and you're nervous makes it a lot easier as well. So make
Yeah.
sure you have kind of those tools ready to go.
Oh my gosh, that's true for your checkoffs too. I have like such a vivid memory of my checkoff for taking blood pressure, and I like couldn't actually really hear the noises, and I'm like having an absolute panic attack. Like, okay, do I just like guess what I'm like, I don't know. And honestly, I think I blacked out. I don't even remember what happened, but I agree with Rachel. You actually have to have the right supplies.
Mhm.
um, what I was going to say to piggyback off of Rachel a little bit was I was the person who had to prepare those supplies like the night before. I'm not a huge morning person. I, in my old age, am trying to become more of a morning person. But I think it's just not really in my nature
Oh.
to want to be up at the crack of dawn. And clinicals usually start pretty early, right?
Mhm.
So having my bag packed, having my lunch ready, like whatever pens and notes, etc., that like let me sleep better and feel like I had it more prepared. I love your advice, Rachel, on feeling like you don't have to know it all. I don't know if any of us don't feel like that. Because we definitely walk in there and we're like, okay, I need to like literally be the nurse right now. Um, and I forget that no one is actually expecting that of me. They are completely aware that you're a student. So maybe just kind of level setting with even with your preceptor, whoever you're going to be shadowing, following at whatever stage you are, hey, what should I be focusing on today? What are your expectations of me? You're not gonna like take four patients on a med surge floor and prioritize and delegate and juggle all the things. So having that scope of like, what's my priority? What should I be focusing on? Checking in with them frequently. I guess I'll also add I always tried to be really good, did my best at soliciting feedback from my preceptors at the end of the day, because you might not ever see that preceptor again. Sometimes during nursing school, it's like a little bit random who you're assigned to one day, the next week when you come back. Sometimes you're going to all sorts of different floors. So if you really view each day as a learning opportunity and ask them, like, not only what do I need to do better at, but what were some things that I were good at today? That can help kind of bolster your confidence, give you a little bit of a good juju to go on. Because I guarantee you, there's going to be things you don't do good, and there's going to be things you do good. Like it's an and statement.
Absolutely. And I think all of those experiences are what we make them. That opportunity to learn a new skill might not present itself right there, but I know when I would go to the unit, I'd be like, hey, I'm here today. I know I'm not with you, but if you see anything cool or if there's anything I can
True.
learn from or a skill that I haven't done yet, will you come get me so that I can help? And every nurse on the floor would be like, yep, we're going to come get you. But if I hadn't done that, they wouldn't have known to come and get me. And so take
Mhm.
every single opportunity you can to maximize those learning
Mhm.
experiences.
That is a great call out, Rachel. I'm really glad you mentioned that because you do have to take some initiative to be like, "Hey, I'm here. I want to learn. I want to get my hands on things. I want to have these experiences." And a lot of times it's going to be observation, but like let's say for example, you're really wanting to place IVs. If they don't know that you need to get an IV for your checkoff or that's a skill that you're really working on, your patient might not need an IV today, but there probably is someone on the floor who does, and they won't know to come grab you if you don't tell them. Same thing for like observing procedures or like, something goes wrong or this patient needs to go on a field trip and you've never seen what MRI looks like. Like if you don't ask, you'll never get the experience. That's a great call out. Cool.
All right.
Okay. So, my next question for you, and I think this one came from your initial list, Rachel. We all get to the point in the semester where we are like ready to give up. We are like, this is not worth it. My life is going off the rails. This is too much. How do you handle the challenging moments? How do you overcome those, knowing that they come every semester?
Yeah, so I have to share when I almost quit nursing school because I almost quit several times, guys. I just have to be totally transparent. But one of the times I almost quit, I got a 40% on my A&P test. And I was like, I can't be a nurse. I clearly don't know this information. I just need to quit and walk away. And in that moment, it was, okay, what's my why? Why do I want this? Why did I want to be a nurse? What is
Yeah.
my passion in this? Do I want to walk away or do I need to learn how to study more efficiently and effectively in ways that work for me? And it was like this defining moment for me of, okay, I'm in control of this and I get to decide if I'm going to choose nursing or not. And I obviously chose nursing and decided to stay. But I think our big part is reflecting on why are we here right now? Why did we choose to go to nursing school? Why did we want this so bad? Why do we want it now? And sometimes that why changes. When I reflect on when I went to school to where I'm at now, my why has totally changed. What I'm doing in nursing has totally changed.
No.
And that's okay. That can evolve and, change as you go through your journey. But going back to this is what fuels me and remembering that. And then also knowing that you can still celebrate the small wins. Um, it might be, hey, you got your first B on a test, celebrate it. It might be, hey, you did awesome on your assignment. You got it turned in 2 days early. Celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes nursing school can feel long. I felt like I didn't sleep for, 3 years of my life that I was in school. And so it's like it can be long if you don't take those moments to reflect of, wow, look at how far I've come. Look at what I've learned and celebrating those small things.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's easy to forget to celebrate those small things too, because in the moment, we're as humans like very good at focusing on I didn't do this well enough or I'm not good enough at that. And the small wins don't in real time often feel worth celebrating. But they really are. And that momentum will help you keep going. Which is a great segue into we had a question from Donna over here. Or hold on, actually, let me scroll up because I don't want to miss anyone's questions from Payal. About how we improve our scoring. So let's say whether we're in nursing school or prepping for the NCLEX, we're not scoring where we want to be. It's the beginning of the semester. How do we turn this around and get our scores for NCLEX, for nursing school, for finals, etc., where we need them?
I think we need to first reflect on how are we studying. I think
Mm,
sometimes it feels like we're doing all the things, but we may not actually be doing them actively. We may be
yeah.
doing them in a passive way. So that's kind of my first thing is assess how you're studying. Are you active or are you passive? But the
Uh-huh.
biggest thing that you can do is really focus on remediation. Hey, I'm
Mhm.
not grasping this, and this is how I would grasp it. And the biggest piece of that is that you're getting to where you can explain those concepts aloud in your own words. I know I
Yeah.
emphasize the in your own words so much, but it doesn't matter if you can explain something how Morgan explains it if
Yeah.
you don't understand it. It
Yeah.
matters that you can explain it to where you get it because that's what's
Yeah.
going to help you answer a test question. The other big thing is make sure you understand testing strategies and
Yeah.
simply how to break down NCLEX style questions because that can bring you a really far way to when you're between two answers, you're stuck between
Yeah.
two. And then, really, my third and final tip with this is stop changing your answer.
Yes.
We get this moment of doubt and we're like, is it A? Is it C? Is it A? Is it C? I'm going to click A and move on. Or we sit there for 2, 3
Yeah.
minutes and spend a
Yeah.
lot of time. What you're teaching yourself is one, to never trust your instinct. And you
Hmm.
want a testing instinct. It's going to be vital for you. You need it as a nurse too, that nursing instinct. So you
That
want to
nursing
start
instinct.
developing that. And then the second big piece of that is let's say you just happen to change it to what you didn't think. You're not going to remediate on that topic, and you just removed a
Yeah.
really crucial learning opportunity
It's
that you're
true.
now not going to have.
Yeah, that's a really solid point. I hadn't thought about that learning opportunity as a miss if you're changing that answer. Yeah. So yeah, stop changing your answer. Israel said, stop changing your answer. Absolutely. We are so with you. One of the cool things that the Archer dashboard does for you, whether you're in nursing school or whether you're in our NCLEX prep, is it will show you after a test how many times you've changed your answer. And if you've changed it from correct to correct or incorrect to correct or whatever, so you can actually like analyze, oh, this significantly hurt my score. I have the data to prove to myself that I should no longer be doing that. And it's hard. It takes time. Give yourself the grace and practice. Just practice. I love, Rachel, you honing in on remediation. I honestly, guys, this is gonna sound bad as somebody who's like been in NCLEX prep world for a long time. I actually really don't care how many practice questions you have done for nursing school, for the NCLEX, for your NP boards, any test. Like I really don't care the sheer volume of practice questions that you do. I care that you meaningfully review what you have gotten correct and incorrect and remediate those areas that you're not doing well in. For some people, that's going to take more questions. For some people, that's going to take less questions. That's not the indicator of if you're ready or not. So, in your Archer dashboard for nursing school, for NCLEX, it is going to pull out for you like, here are your low scoring areas, and you go and remediate. So, one of our questions was, I feel like I understand the concepts, but then I go take the test and I get the wrong answer. You've got to go remediate those concepts, dig a little deeper, stop memorizing, start understanding. And remediation is, in my opinion, how you get there. And it's nice when you have a platform like Archer that kind of serves it up to you on a platter and you're like, okay, I need to remediate heart failure. Here's the video. Here are my questions. Like, let's go. Let's do this. That takes a little bit of the workload off of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes it way easier when it's just right there. You don't have to go searching for anything.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay. So let's pull up our list of questions over here. So we've talked about handling those challenges, how we answer those questions, getting our scores to where we need to be. Um, Talk to me a little bit about support systems because all of this is a lot. If I had to guess, all the remediation, the practice questions, the clinical, even just, we've been talking for 15 minutes and it can be a lot. It can feel overwhelming. So, Do you have a support system? How do you find that support system? How do you use that support system? Like we all need a nurse friend. So what how do we do that?
Yeah, I actually was just talking last week about how nursing is community, and that starts when you're in school. And reflecting back on my own community that I had was my classmates. Oh shoot, I forgot this assignment was due. Guess what? Someone's already texting me about this assignment. Hey, Rachel, did you do this yet? What were your thoughts on it? And that community is so essential because they're built-in study partners. They're on the same schedule as you, and they're going through the same stressors. Now, there might be some differences from, compared to are they working while they're going through school? What is their family life like? Those might vary from person to person, but you have that built in community right next to you with your classmates. Now, if you're a remote student, you have to
Uh,
seek that out a little bit more. It gets more challenging, but in my graduate program, I didn't make my community until one of my last classes. Your classmates did change. Pretty much almost every class, I felt like I had different classmates. But when I had that community, it was so nice because instead of needing to ask my instructor 10 questions, we would just get on a weekly phone call and talk through, hey, what did you think about this part of the assignment? How did you verbalize this? Do you have a
uh-huh.
suggestion for maybe how I wrote it? Could you review my paper to make sure I'm in alignment with the syllabi? I didn't miss something. So that community is huge. But then also having community outside of that nursing school experience. And this is for new grads, same thing. Your other new grads that are working alongside you, that's your community. Experienced nurses are your community. But having relationships outside that with friendships,
Yeah.
um, relationships, all of that is really important too, because you
Yeah.
do need a breather away from nursing,
A
uh,
hundred percent.
where you can be like, okay, I'm going to
Like
walk
I am a
away
human
for just a
being.
minute. Yes,
Well, and that support system can help kind of keep you accountable to like, I am a human being. I have value outside of nursing school. This isn't 100% of my life. Like maybe on some days it's 95% of your life, but you also need to give yourself the grace to like step outside, go on a walk, feel the sun on your face. You've got to take care of your own self and your own body to some degree, or you're not going to be able to keep up with the course load. So it is very easy for me to forget that. Even now, I will like shut myself into this office and not emerge all day long. That is my personality. And I need my support system to keep me accountable to like, you need watered, you need fed, like you need to go out in the sunlight. So that support system's huge for me. And I will say, I my first 2 semesters of school, I did not have a good support system at all. It really wasn't until I got into the thick of my nursing coursework that I found my people, who are still my people today, who are still my village today, who I lean on. There is no friend like a nurse friend when you have really like bonded over the stress of a skills check off or a crazy community health clinical situation. Like they will be your people. Some of them work at Archer with me now, because they really are just amazing people. So even if it takes some time, if you're on, day one, semester two, if you haven't found your people, that's okay. But reach out. Don't sit in the corner and wait. Reach out, find your support, ask for the help, ask for the support, because it will make a difference.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so a question came up here about how much and when we study, how we schedule our study time, what an average amount per day. If I'm in class from 8 to 5, do I study more? What was your study schedule like, Rachel?
Yeah, so when I was in school, I would have class, depending on
Uh,
the day, typically from 8 to 3,
oh
Monday,
wow.
Wednesday, Fridays. And then Tuesday, Thursdays were clinical days. We would have
Okay.
clinical, sometimes it would be a skills lab. We wouldn't be in class all day on those days, and those were really helpful study days. Then we had our weekends off, except for sometimes clinical days would fall on the weekends. I did have once where I had school 12 days straight, and I thought I might lose my mind with the
Whew.
12 days straight.
Yeah, I would lose
Um,
my marbles.
yeah, but the big thing is, yeah, average, we're looking at probably, 4 hours of studying per day. And yeah, some of
Okay.
that could include, hey, between class, we talked about this, or something I used to do is I had an hour commute. I would actually record
Mhm.
myself going through my notes and I would listen to my notes.
Yeah.
This was, before podcasts were really a thing. I would listen to my notes on my way to class, and that was a really helpful tool for me. That counts as study time. Again, we want to
Yeah.
focus on active studying, but there is a time for passive studying as well. But
Yeah.
everyone is going to look different. So, Morgan, I'm sure how you study versus how much time I need to study is going to be different. So, what I would really walk away from is number one, having a study plan of what do you need to get done and making sure you're getting through that have to do list each day. And for one of you, it may take 2 hours. For the other, it may take 5 hours. And you have to be aware of that for yourself because everyone's journey in nursing school is going to look different. NCLEX prep, it's going to look different, and that's okay. But you have to know what works for you and what doesn't. I've had people who are partway through a semester and they're like, Rachel, I can't keep working and keep up with the study
Yeah.
schedule. And then they have to make a choice what they're going to do. And that can be hard in the moment. But knowing yourself and how you study is really important. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, school comes easy for some people. It's way harder for
True.
others. But if you really want it, it's worth that hard work.
Yeah, yeah, nothing worth it was ever easy, right? The hard things are always the worth it things. It's interesting. I studied actually pretty similar to you, Rachel, where I recorded notes and listened, number one in the car. But then what I actually found out for myself was if I was taking a walk and listening, to the lecture, to myself, to a podcast, whatever, like if I was moving my body, I got to the point where I could remember like where I was when I heard a certain fact. I'd be like taking my med surg exam. I'd hear, like left-sided heart failure causes, blah, 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 crackles. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I heard that while I was like walking by the pond in my neighborhood. It just stuck in my head in a weird way, but I had to be in motion. So whenever I figured out like that was how my body worked, I was like, okay, that's how I'm gonna study. And it was great because you could multitask a little bit in a way.
There must be research backing this because my
It's gotta
classmates and I,
be
we used to go on a walk almost every day and we would do flashcards as we walked
a
together.
flashcard walk.
We would do a flashcard walk, which I'm amazed I never like tripped and fell or anything, but we loved it. We had a group of four of us. We did it all the time.
So
I've
good.
now I've got to research it to see if
I
there's
know.
some
There's
sort of
got to be
evidence of
some sort
this.
of link there. Yeah. Well, and so we started at Archer, we started a podcast specifically for this type of study. So if you're like that's sounding really good, I want something quick and easy on my drive, on my walk, whatever. I'm dropping into the chat the link to our podcast. Just another like free easy resource to have in your back pocket. We keep the episodes really really short, like I want to say, like 15 minutes or so. So you can just listen to like specific topics on your drive, on your walk, et cetera, is the point of that podcast. But we only have about 5 minutes left, and we have two more questions over in our chat here. So, if you are having kind of borderline scores for the NCLEX, for nursing school, and you've got your exam coming up pretty quickly, let's say within a week, a month or so, how do we help get you away from borderline up into your high scores where you want to be?
Yeah, I would say stop taking tests and reflect on where are my gaps and improve on those gaps before you start taking more test questions. I think our mind goes, oh, if I just keep taking more, I'm going to figure it out. But we never went to the root of the problem of, oh, hey, I don't have testing strategies down yet, or I really struggle with select all that apply. I need to work on these more. And I think finding, oh, this is the root of the issue. When we correct that, then it's all going to get a lot easier from there. So what I would do is let's say you're borderline in your scores, maybe on the last three practice exams you've taken, go look at those three. Are there any consistencies across them? And then make a plan for the next week of how am I going to improve on those areas? Then go take
Yeah.
another one of those practice tests and see if your score goes up. If you're still struggling with that, you're like, I don't know how to do that on my own, then I would recommend working with one of our tutors. We support people while they're in nursing school, while they're prepping for the NCLEX, kind of throughout that entire journey, to be like, hey, this is where I'm at. Can you help me with some guidance? And our team does do that as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think something to tag on there, I mean, that's really getting back to like remediation, right? How
Mhm.
we keep harping on like remediate your weak areas, like the things that you're not doing so well, the things that your dashboard flags for you as a low scoring area or a weakness are the things that you need to focus on. And how you do that can look different for person to person. So we had a question about like, do I study before class or do I take care of my household chores before or after? And sometimes, guys, it's not an exact science. Sometimes it does come down to personal preference and what works for you and your family. I would also advocate not to be afraid to try a couple different things out. I mean, definitely try a few things out and see what works because something might work really well for you that doesn't work for another person or vice versa. Yeah. All right. So I think we had one more question pop up. I've heard nurses say you should study a week before an exam along with practice questions because you're reviewing every day. What do you think of that advice, Rachel?
Yeah, so when you're starting nursing school, let's start there and then go NCLEX. Because I know we've got people from both audiences joining us today, but let's start with nursing school. I always made sure in my calendar that my prep for a test started a week prior, because you do need that time. It's more about learning small amounts over a longer period of time that are going to help retention rates over trying to learn it all in a crammed short period of time. The other thing is it feels way less stressful when you give yourself that time. Doing practice questions is great because that's going to assess if you truly understand. As adults, we get guilty of saying, "Oh, I got it,"
Yeah,
and we don't
I got
always
it.
got it.
Yep.
And so it's a great assessment of, okay, can I actually apply this knowledge? And so that's super important. The other thing that I would say for if you're in NCLEX prep, yeah, you're studying for a lot longer than a week, right? In that period,
Yeah.
I typically recommend, about a 6 week time frame is kind of that sweet spot for first time test takers, is
Mhm.
prepping for 6 weeks. And the goal of that is that you're seeing topics across the 6 weeks. You're getting micro learning over those topics and you're seeing them again come up in the Q bank. You might get a cardiac question in week one and you're still getting them in week six. The reason for
Yeah.
that is because if I were to just touch on it for 1 week and I didn't touch on it for five, then I maybe have forgotten that material over then. And so the goal is that you're consistent in seeing those topics time and time again, which is going to improve understanding over that memorizing that commonly happens when you're in nursing school and have to cram a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've already said it. I'm going to say it again. Stop memorizing, start understanding. It's harder work, but it really is worth it in the long run because that's what's going to move it into your long-term memory and what you're going to be able to access, during the NCLEX when you're taking your boards, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so that is our time for today. Rachel, do you have any last bits of wisdom to end us off with here?
Yeah, I think just remembering that you are capable, you are worthy of this. I know that it can be hard, but keep reflecting on that why. And Archer is here to support you along the journey. But thanks for being a big part of our community here.
That's right. Absolutely. It's not easy, it's worth it. The hard things are worth it. So we're so glad to be a part of your journey. Reach out to us for any questions at all, and we'll see you guys back next time.